Hey, how's it going, people? Um, so a couple days ago, or actually just yesterday, meh, just yesterday, I was doing part two of the X-Men poster that I'm working on, drawing for a friend of mine, and so I thought, well, I really want to get it done this weekend, and so I thought I'd pop on for a surprise stream and just sort of however long I decide to work. There's no real time limit here. Um, the wife has gone away for the day, the night, to visit my oldest daughter in college. So it's just me here and my older son and my youngest daughter. So we're going to have a movie night tonight. But until then, I want to keep working on this and see if I can't get pretty close to being finished so that I just have, a painting day left to do. So, um, yeah, I don't know. But last stream was really cool because we had people coming in, they were chatting, they were submitting questions, and uh, met somebody named Kimberly who was going to art college to become an art major. Um, it's I love the social aspect of this in a certain way. At the same time, I find it terrifying because I have such bad anxiety, and of course, I hate drawing in front of people. I prefer to put my headphones on, my playlist, and zone out and just go. And this is the complete opposite of that. So, um, but hey, you know, do the best I can, right? So yeah, this is the this is the poster I'm working on here. And I think I'm gonna turn off Rogue, and I'm gonna turn off Gene, and I just want to kind of get Cyclops nailed down. And of course, I stayed up all night thinking about this drawing because I've really been struggling with it. I think it's because I'm coming off of a project where the style was very cartoony, and you know, I'm just finding it a little tricky to switch over to a less cartoony style. And yeah, I do utilize all the cheats I can in Photoshop. So you get up off all the way off my back about that, as my son likes to say. Um, they don't always save time. I think it's really a bad habit overall. They don't always come off as being the time saver that you think they would be. 9 times out of 10, you're better off just to erase and redraw it. But I never seem to go that route first thing. Maybe that says something about my work ethic. I don't know. I don't know how deep we want to get on this thing. But yeah, streaming is going to become a big part of Drawn to It Studios. We are planning to do a lot more animation related projects in 2024. And we plan to stream as much of the making of those videos as possible. Because when I was a kid, I loved seeing all those behind the scenes kind of Disney documentaries and stuff. Not that we're Disney, I mean, please, right? But I don't know. It's kind of neat to to watch something go from being nothing to something, you know? Kind of that when I was younger, I'd watch Bob Ross because I just couldn't believe that a blank canvas would become this beautiful mountainscape with, you know, and there would be times, every single time there'd be times when I was convinced he ruined the painting. Like there'd be a time when I'd be like, "Hey, that looks pretty good. Stop." And then he'd put like a big dark line right down, the right third of it. And I'm like, "Oh, what have you done?" Convinced he ruined it, and then a few more brush strokes later, and he's got this beautiful fir tree. I need to thicken up my brush a bit. Got a beautiful fir tree, and I'm like, oh my god, it's the most amazing thing ever. Oh, I should load up. Should load up the model sheet since I am trying to do my best to not necessarily be perfectly on model. I'm just trying to at best be representationally on model because come on, I'm not working on this show. It's like my version of these characters based on their current design, if that makes sense. So okay. So his armor sort of comes down. Comes down into that. I've made his ankles a bit too. There we go. Kind of a weird armor on his suit. But these character designs for X-Men Evolution, they're really well done. I quite like them. I'm not sure how much I'd enjoy working on this show because, to be honest, I'm not sure I have the talent required to draw these characters on model consistently. Although I do tend to draw better or more confidently when I'm animating. I'm not sure why that is, but if I'm actually animating, like I can think three-dimensionally easier. When I'm illustrating like this, it's all very labored. So that probably says all kinds of stuff about my talent level or lack thereof, because there are people out there that just have no problem with this type of stuff at all. I got so much respect for them because I struggle big time with this stuff. This type of it's definitely not realistic, but it's so stylized that it's like almost it's just outside of that North American animation, but not fully. It's still got 1 foot in it, and just 1 foot enough into like anime that throws me off because I'm so much more comfortable with like you know, gummy bears or, you know, like really I don't know, that traditional kind of Disney feature kind of thing is what I've always aspired for. And but I do think this type of stuff is super cool. Call that a foot for now. And this is so stylized. I love it. I do love it. I found myself going back watching um, some cartoons I haven't seen in a long time. And when I was looking for some, I actually found a whole version of Voltron that I haven't watched before. And it wasn't the DreamWorks one, it was another one, but I really was digging it. So I think tomorrow I might be spending some time watching that. Voltron is like, you know, that was my jam as a kid. And it would be on twice a day. Once at lunch, which I always found weird because, you know, kids are supposed to be at school. However, if you were homesick by some miracle, you had that Price is Right, and then if mom was nice enough to let me watch my shows, which I had to be really sick for, right? Like I had to be super sick to get that pity. So I could lay on the couch with my blanket and Voltron would be on in the afternoon. It's funny how things from your childhood mean so much more in your adulthood, way after the time has come and gone for their, you know, for their place in history. And then you go back and you watch them, and some of them don't stand up at all. You're just sort of, for instance, I went back to rewatch the show Knight Rider, or at least that was my intention. And yeah, it didn't hold up as well as I had hoped. So other shows hold up so good though. Like I'm not talking about like culturally, like, you know, in terms of wokeness and political correctness. I'm not talking about that. I'm just sort of talking about the visual dynamic and, you know, storytelling for its time. Gargoyles held up beautifully. This style is kind of in that vein. Although when you watch the colorized version of this TV show, um, it's so much more punchy and than what Gargoyles was. Gargoyles, it's almost like they took the Batman animated series color palette and just put it right on that show. Super cool show. What an annoying detail. To hand animate this detail here? Give me a friggin' break. No, thank you. I say annoying because it has like this inner thing here, then the X. Then it kind of sits on the body a little bit funny. Like in a way that wouldn't make any kind of real practical sense. So it's just kind of funny. Yeah. So oh, look at that. We're getting spam chats. Wonder if I can I block them? There we go. Get rid of that spam. So I'm new to streaming and there's so much involved with it, so much more than I thought. It's almost, I think, easier in a lot of ways to be on set filming something because this streaming, I think a really well done stream has two people, producer and the talent. So a person in front of the camera. And in this case, it's me drawing. Some other streams, video games, maybe. But I find it a lot for one person to juggle, you know. So, but I'm getting better. Hey, I'm 3 streams in now, and assuming this stream ends okay, that'll be 3 streams with audio. There were 2 other streams before that. Neither one of them had audio. The audio cut out like a few minutes into it. So, that's a win. I'm taking it as a win. Okay, that's good. I can live with that. So I'm not doing a full cleanup on this. I prefer to do kind of rough and loose illustrations. I am capable of doing nice inking to a certain degree. Certainly not to like a Jim Lee or Todd McFarlane kind of level, but definitely for animation purposes, I can do a decent cleanup. I hate doing it. I just I don't know what it is about it, the tediousness or something, but man, I hate doing cleanup. Okay. I have to bring that model sheet back up. Doop doop boop. Here we go. Because yeah, that's what I was wondering about. This character design has like a line flow that If you don't look closely, it looks like the lines are doing something else than what they're actually doing. For instance, here there's actually like the fabric comes up past the body, then it kind of comes across like that. So when you erase away this part, you're left with that little, I don't know what you call it, but you know how it wraps around. But at first, my mind's eye just sort of blended these lines together. And that's something I do a lot. I wonder if it might be related to a learning disability that I haven't been fully diagnosed with. I found out kind of late in life that I have ADHD. And I'd like to say it surprised me, but it made a lot of sense because I was so bad in school, and not because I found any of it hard. I just didn't care. Did not care one bit. I was more interested in the fantasies I was creating inside of my mind's eye. So so since then I've been wondering, well, what else is going on that I don't know about? Because there are things like that where I'll look at something. I don't have any problems reading or anything, but when I look at shapes or something like that, at a glance, my mind just will blend things in a weird way. But I don't know if that would be a dyslexia thing because I don't have any problems reading. Like words don't drift around on me or anything like that. So yeah, I'll use feel like I want to thin my brush down a bit. Bring that knuckle back a bit. Angle that is definitely wrong. Be wouldn't see the inside of that finger. Okay. This hand, I've got more work to do on it to finalize it. So, I'm seeing a lot of differences between my version and the on model version, but I'm okay with it because I like to think, if anything, I'm just trying to do like a tribute kind of thing. Oh, that mask is kind of weird. So actually, I'm gonna draw the front part of the mask first. So the front. No. Mm. This mask, it's gonna kill me. I gotta add a work on a different layer for it because I don't really know what I'm doing for it. So if this line is coming straight back, trying to keep in mind of where his eyeballs actually are behind that mask. This part is a little thick. And of course, he's got so very lightly, there's like a swoopy doop thing for his hair. Comes something about characters, male characters. They always have the split, you know, especially in like the old Disney movies and stuff. I say old, but like they're not that old, but they all kind of have that hero bang haircut. Back of his head is back here because he's looking up. So almost reminds me of Guy Gardner from the later 80s. Okay. And so nope. I forgot I put it on a new layer. Okay. Should be able to move that now. I knew that this little piece was going to be problematic for me. I would have loved to have drawn this on paper, but I struggle a great deal drawing on paper because of my hand tremors. So I've sort of resigned myself to the fact that digital is going to be the way I have to go for, well, kind of for good, I guess. Because I rely so heavily on the different cheats that digital allows to compensate for the fact that there are certain angles I just my hand won't, I can't pose my hand to draw like in a way that doesn't cause the line to go like that all over the place. So when I draw digitally, I've learned how to compensate for that. They call it essential tremors. And I don't know what's so darn essential about them. So I do get them all over my body. Oh, that's not right. How does this mask come down? Well, I guess I'll just follow the line I have there. Yeah, that'll work. I feel like the bottom part of these I gotta tweak a bit. And then they really stylize this eye bar. They kind of don't worry too much about it being perfect. I'm seeing on the model sheets, some of it is pinched at one end, some of it it's not. So this, I don't know how this might be the one drawing my buddy kind of tears up and throws back at me. And usually gauge fairly good if what I'm working on is hitting the way it should when by the way my son reacts to it. He's becoming quite the accomplished artist himself. Mostly in oil paint. And he seemed to be digging this one. It's cool to watch him work on his stuff because he's at a level that like most people were at when they were just starting college when back in the beginning. And so it's cool to have another set of eyes that I can trust on more than just like that audience type of level, but I can ask him for like a more qualifiable opinion about some things. Oh, this hand. Ooh. Take a break. I'm getting a little stiff-necked here. Oh, let's see what's going on here in chat. We have Kimberly. Hi, how's it going? It's going really good, Kimberly. Thanks for checking in again. Kimberly spent quite a long time with me last night. And she was very patient. So there's something. Oh, Kimberly is going to art school as well. So that's cool. There we go. I like that better. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow, that's great. Nice, confident lines. What is it?
Yeah. Thanks, Finn. Always trying to hurt my feelings. Let's see here. So Kimberly popped by. That is fantastic. I really appreciate that. Let's see what this looks like with the other characters brought back in. So we have Jean Grey, and then we have Rogue. So Rogue, out of all these characters, I mean, I struggled with all of them a huge amount. Like, if you're coming to a stream to watch an artist that every line they put down is the perfect line, this is not, that's not me. I draw and redraw and redraw and redraw and get it there most of the way, at least. But drawing is a very difficult thing for me. Even though I've been doing it for 23 years, it is not a natural ability. Like, every time I draw, it feels like pulling teeth. So oh man, my coffee is going cold. So this can look pretty cool, I think. We'll get rid of Jean, and then we'll bring up my underdrawing. So if you can see I've got this rough underdrawing, and I've done several of those for each of these characters, just trying to get it a little bit better each time. Every time I do one on a layer, you can see I go up here and I drop the opacity down, right? From the 100%, I drop it way down so that I have it as like a roadmap of what not to do. And I do another drawing on top of it. I sort of plus it as I'm doing a new trace off. So I'll change proportions, draw something a little more solidly. As you know, but I'll do that for as many underdrawings as it takes. I have no problem spending a day on a pose if I need to, because yeah, it's just so hard to three-dimensionally represent something on a two-dimensional plane, and in order to do that, you have to have such a thick understanding of, well, in this case, the more anatomy knowledge I have, the better. I wish I had more than what I had. I'm definitely gonna be making 2024 something where I beef up my anatomy knowledge for sure. Because I need help, man. I need some good old-fashioned help. But don't actually mind this hand the way I have it drawn there. But I do have to figure out how I want these. I don't even know what you call it. I guess it would be a gauntlet. If it's meant to be armor, then I guess it's like a gauntlet, right? Mm, no. Because I'm not thinking about it as one. It's not the angle I want for that. Well, that's a shame. I don't mind that hand, but I don't think it's relevant to what I need now. Oops. So now I'm working on another underdrawing for just this arm piece here. I want that type of. Almost kind of, if this arm's tucked in a bit, if his elbow is kind of here, the joint. Almost wondering if no. If that hand's clenched, the other one should be clenched too. So this is one of those moments where I know what I want, like I can see it. Maybe I have to go more. No. But I'm doing all this scribbling here. I don't know, like, I don't know what I'm trying to get out of that. I'm just sort of, I don't know. Just trying to figure out. I guess I don't mind that rhythm. So in that case, I keep that as the underdrawing and lower it. Turn off that underdrawing. And then I can work it out from here. Nobody in the chat right now, but that's okay. That's okay. It's alright. Okay. So I always get that song stuck in my head, man. This is another underdrawing where I'm trying to get closer to what I'm looking for. And each time I do one of these, the level of detail gets a little bit more solidified. His gauntlet. I wanna. Yeah. So this can't be like that. One thing I've noticed in this show, they tend to show a lot of tend to show a lot of fabric wrinkling, which usually in a character design that stuff gets sort of hidden and avoided. All right. So turn that off. And I drew all this on the wrong layer, which is something I do about 500 million times every project I work on. But you're all getting me rather distracted. Look at yous. Look at yous out there, getting me all distracted.
Don't look now, but you have to draw feet while people watch. Nervous?
He's such an idiot. So mean to me. All the time. And I've done a lot for him. See, he thinks he's high and mighty because he's the visual representation of the voice in my head. You can see him back there. I drew him. The therapy exercise that was. So each of those penguins represents a different voice that I hear. And his voice is like the self-doubt, I guess you'd say. And ever since I drew him and gave him the ability to have a little bit of independence, he loves reminding me. But you have to embrace all parts of you. And he came from a part of me that needed to be let out, you know? Sometimes you get a little, that voice is too trapped inside you, and you can get a little paralyzed. So I say face it head on. It's the only way to get through anything. Face it head on. That's what I've found that works for me anyway. I face it head on and then deal with the aftermath so that the hard part is dealt with. So I used to have a colleague who would call that eating the toad, because apparently there was some guy would start every day by eating a toad or a frog with the idea that if he could get past that, then everything else in that day would be gravy, which is no problem. And I kind of like that idea. So when I drew that collage back there of swimming penguins, I drew it so it could look cute on itself, but I knew the meaning behind it. So you see the penguin furthest back there is, you probably can't see it on camera. Furthest back is very faded, and that represented confidence. And the penguin closest to us, closer to camera, represented self-doubt. Because at the time I was going through something quite difficult to get through. So, but yeah, every time he's there. Doesn't bother me like it used to though. Okay. Okay, we have we have Cyclops, and I'm reasonably pleased. And we have, I'll bring Rogue up higher here. We have Rogue tucked in behind, but I still have like a very rough Jean that I have to work out. So I think that will be who I concentrate on right now. Jean. Although I kind of like how rough she looks. That sounded bad. I like the energy of the gesture in this sketch is a better way to put it. Good Lord. Oh, something I do have to work out though is the neck of Rogue. I gotta figure out how that's gonna fit into the photo. Ooh, let's bring up her model sheet. She's got like doesn't look horribly complicated, but okay. And Jean. There we go. And then these swoopy lines down here representing kind of the her her clavicle. I think what I'm going to do, make a little adjustment on this jawline. Maybe I might change my mind on this. Nope. Well, that's better. Anyway. Better in terms of the reference, but okay. So her neck is indicated, and she's going to kind of fade into a bunch of smoke and stuff. So her body details are immaterial. Leave her neck kind of gestural. There was one character in this series, the episode I was watching. It's like a frog character. I think his name might have been Frog. And it was a rough looking scene I was watching. And I can't even say I blame the animators that worked on it, because his design didn't really allow for a great translation to the camera shot. The angle that the camera was pointed at. That's the benefit of all the shows, not all the shows, but a lot of shows now, they're being reimagined with CGI, 3D stylized versions of characters. And the great thing about that is when you move the camera around, you're not worrying about things being on or off model, because you're getting all that for free, right? The character just shows you what is. But I still like the hand drawn stuff. Especially hand drawn stuff that's like, the movie Klaus, when it came out. Oh, that was one of those instances where I couldn't decide if I should be focusing on the very well done movement, the character designs, which were just awesome, and of course all the background designs. But I kept looking at the rendering, how they went about doing all the shading and everything for that movie, and it gave it this 3D look to it. And but not like 3D, like computer 3D, but like hand-drawn 3D. That doesn't make any sense, I know, but okay, cool. So Rogue is good to go for flats. Flats being my flat coloring when I lay it down. But the one that's not good to go is Jean. She needs a little work. Just a little bit of work on little Jean. So for the most part, I'm pretty happy with the underdrawing. I think it's mostly just an issue of cleaning, tying it down, I should say. And even when I do like the tie downs, I'm still very rough and loose with it, and I'll still draw through things and then go back and erase and whatnot. But it's because the underdrawing has done all the big heavy lifting of figuring out, well, for the most part, it's done all the heavy lifting. I can throw down a different type of line that just kind of is a little more bold and final. But is it good? Well, that's subjective. That's up to the viewer. It's good to what I can do at this moment in time. And every drawing you do, or okay, for every drawing I do, like I know once I'm done this and I give it off to my buddy, I know in a few, maybe a month, I'll look at it again, and if I was to redraw it, it'd be way better. because my mind will keep working on it even though I'm done. I'm still sort of working on it in my head. Plus, I'm working on other projects where I'm learning, uh, you know, new drawing tips and tricks and stuff. And then I go and I look at a project that I did, a couple months back, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had known this back then, but it's too late. The art is never done, it's abandoned, is how the quote goes, I guess. I like that quote because I feel that way. I've got so many projects that I've just abandoned. Some of them because they just weren't working out. Most of them because of the ADHD, where I squirreled out. Well, new idea, and then whatever I was hyper fixated on is gone. That's it. And I always say, "Oh, I'm gonna go back to that," and somehow I never do. I just I lose the fire for it. But I won't delete the files. So I've got hard drives that are just full of abandoned projects, man. But I can't get myself to delete the files. So I hold on to these files that are full of concepts and sketches, and they're not good, because if they were good, I'd be, showing them in my portfolio in some manner. But they're ideas, right? To me, there's nothing better than taking like a real quick idea that's just sort of thrown out haphazardly, and then from that, like, workshopping it with a group of people who are like-minded. Like, maybe you've got like 4 or 5 people you work with at a studio who, that's part of your job. You sit around and workshop an idea. We did that at Disney. We're somebody would throw out the root of an idea, and it would be kind of initially, it wouldn't be that great of an idea. But like, say I threw out like, yeah, we could have this giant robot that comes and rips apart the building. Well, somebody more on their game, like thinking about from their job point, they'd be like, okay, but how does that promote the story, right? I thought about it from the point of view of it would be a cool shot. Well, then one of the writers would say, but how does that help the story? Okay, so we all think about that. And then another person would say, well, maybe it's, the robot's trying to destroy the blah, blah, blah. And then before you know it, you've got a whole story arc worked out, because each person has contributed off of something that was at first seemingly a bad idea. So it's really cool when that happens. A bad idea becomes the seed for the final thing. But when I started at Disney, during those meetings, I kept my friggin' mouth shut, man. Because I didn't want to be the dude that said something and everybody turned slowly in their chair looking at me. But did he really just say that? Why is he here? Like, I didn't want to be that person, so I would keep my mouth shut. And eventually, within the first few weeks of me being there, one of my coworkers came up to me and she was like, listen, you're allowed to talk during those meetings. And I said, yeah, but my uncle always used to tell me, better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And she was like, yeah, but that's kind of not how our process is. So I started speaking up at the meetings, and eventually found my own footing, and was able to jam with them. I guess like to use a musical. Now, do I want to put her shoulder out in front, or do I want to swoop this hair down like that? Like that. I feel like I want her shoulder out in front. Because then this swoopiness plays better independently and it's not mirrored. Which I like that. Are you still around, Kimberly? I've let my coffee go cold and I really want it heated up. But I don't know if I have it in me to go up and then back downstairs because I'm dealing with severe back pain. You know what? Give me a second. I'll be right back, okay? Don't go anywhere. I'm coming right back. Okay. Okay, my daughter's helping me out. Yay, she's going to heat up my coffee and bring it back down to me. Last time I asked her to do that, she brought it upstairs and dumped it out. I sat around and I was waiting. And I'm like, what? What is she doing? And she sends me a message saying, Dad, I dumped it out. And it was a combination of emojis that she used that, like, I didn't get like, oh, you dumped out my coffee. I just stared at. I'm like, of course you did. You know, sounds about right. So, so she is gonna help me out and heat it up and bring it back down to me. Now, I'm pretty proud of her. She is 2 years ago, my family worked on a production independent film that I created and wrote it, and then I basically wrote them into being part of it. But it was called Ugwug, based on St. John's legendary sea monster. The city I live in is St. John in New Brunswick, and apparently I discovered that we had our own sea monster legend, and its name was Ugwug. So I did a bunch of research, and it was like from way back in the 50s, is when it came to be. And I came up with a storyline that was all about basically my daughter meeting the monster and becoming best friends. Here she comes. She didn't dump it out this time. Thank you very much. Ooh, that's hot. Yes, thank you. Do you want to wave to the people? There.
Oh, you can't even see my
You
hair.
can come stand here. See? There she is. Star of Ugwug.
I don't know where
Right there.
to look.
Right there in the
Oh.
camera. Yeah.
Well, there's
So-
your coffee cup with coffee in it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll be done soon and then we can do the movie. But yeah, she didn't dump it out this time, so that's good. This eye. Been struggling with this eye. I'm not gonna hide it. I have been. I think that will work for my purposes. And she's got this Jean character. She has like these over tweezed brows. They really remind me of how my mom's brows were growing up. So that was like a whole thing, right? I can remember watching my mom pluck her eyebrows and just thinking, it's gotta hurt. And then you fast forward a whole bunch of years and I'm in my middle ages and I'm getting wizard eyebrows. So like I'll be watching one of our shows with my wife. We'll be sitting there watching a show. I'll feel her looking at me, like we're side by side watching a show, and I can feel her looking at me. And I'll look over, and she'll just be looking at me, and I'm sure she's thinking, "Oh God, this is what I'm left with. Oh my," you know. Meanwhile, I look at her and I'm like, "Man, what a smoke show." So, you know, it's a bit of a, she lost out, I think, on the deal. Anyway, I'll feel her looking at me and then I'm like, what are you staring at me for? And she'll be like, you're getting them again. And I know, I got these gnarly, they just come and they grow out forever. And then I'm thinking, God, how many people, like I went out in public today and I had like Doc Ock eyebrows coming out. Yeah. Getting older sucks. Things stop working as well as they used to. Like knees. You know. It's just the way it is. This was a tough year. My grandfather passed away this year, and he was really my number one fan. Big supporter of my career, even during the ups and the downs, I should say, the downs. He would always be there with an encouraging comment, you know, bit of support. And I found myself in the past month or so, like in a moment where I was feeling a certain way where typically I would probably call him. And this was not an option. It's a sad thing. But he used to be so mesmerized by the drawing stuff, and then when my son started oil painting, he just thought it was the greatest thing. even I do, because I look at oil paintings, and I mean, it's a medium that I just don't think, I don't think I could ever develop a discipline for. Okay, so there's Jean. Oh, I don't need this line here. Can erase that. Okay, we got Jean. Let's bring her up. Actually, let's name her. So the friend that I'm drawing this for is a, where did I put Rogue? Oh, right there. So I want Jean over top of Rogue, but under Cyclops. So that means I can delete all of these other files, but I'll keep my initial thumbnails. Yeah. Sorry, not files, but layers. Just to clean up the Photoshop file a little bit. Okay. Turn them on. There we go. Oh, wait. Can't delete them yet because there's one more part. I gotta find it. I do encourage you out there, don't be like me. Like, as you're working, keep your layers labeled and organized, because this is what happened. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. That and okay. All right. So this and this, I'm going to merge that because I'm going to do another trace off of that. That. Okay. That I don't need. Okay.
This reminds me of my cousin's friend's nephew's niece. Now she could draw.
Well, it's getting there. I mean, I don't know why you always have to compare everything, but so that's, I guess I'm pretty reasonably happy with that. I gotta finish. So I guess what I'll do is foreground. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this quick background sketch I've done, and I'm going to trace off the foreground, extreme foreground elements on a separate layer so that I can play with them a bit. Maybe add some blur to them to give a little bit of depth of field, that type of thing. But I also have to finish the design for the background part back here. So okay. Don't know why I started in the middle like that. But I did. I don't even know what these things are. They're just kind of a metallic cable of some kind that telescopes. Bit of damage. So the next stream we do for this will be on Monday, and we'll be doing the coloring, all of the painting. You know what? I'm going to put that part on its own layer too, which is a little bit of overkill, but I think I want to put a more severe blur on it for depth of field. But yeah, Monday we're gonna color it. I'm not the best coloring artist out there at all, but I think we'll get through it. It'll look pretty cool when we're done. I do enjoy looking at the comic book covers, at some of the different styles of coloring that some of the artists who are really good at it use. Like they can add so much without taking away what the penciler put in. And I think that's awesome, because then it's a very complementary collaboration, and the penciler doesn't feel like their work was dismissed. And I also like watching people like ink their own stuff. Jim Lee probably being one of my favorites, but mostly because he's really the only person out there that I see doing it consistently. Because Jim Lee has his own art stream where he shows the behind the scenes of, you know, various DC images, and, you know, every once in a while he'll do an actual page from an issue that he's working on. That's kind of cool. That adds a texture that I like. Yeah. What is it? Don't know. No idea. But I like how it adds the texture to the. So this is like a block of concrete here. I'm trying to avoid little tangent lines with the cables there. if they are cables. Yeah, on my last stream, I was saying how my first job in the industry was doing background designs, but backgrounds was also one of the first courses when I was at Sheridan that I dropped. When I say dropped, I didn't officially get out of it. I just stopped doing it, and I failed it because I got 0 on everything. But I also, at that point, I was sort of getting offers from different places in response to applications I had put out. And I kind of had made up my mind that I wasn't going to be sticking around. That mostly from a financial point of view, I couldn't afford to go into debt anymore with student loan. And so I just sort of had made my mind up that I was going to opt for as much of a on-the-job learning as I could get with whatever opportunities I could find. And so I got very brave and kind of stupidly so, because I really wish I had paid attention, because Sean, the instructor, he's an Nelvana guy now. And I think like a director there or even higher up. He's just awesome. I could have learned so much if I hadn't let my ego get in the way, which I've done a few times, more than a few times in my career. And, you do it once, maybe twice, and you think you'd learn your lesson, but I'm thick. I am thick. Not just, but like, thick in the head. And I had to go through quite a few big downs, which I'll talk about on later streams. But I learned a lot out of that.
Oh, look at what you drew. Who's so talented? Did the big boy make a pretty picture? Is Mommy gonna put this up on the refrigerator door too?
Whatever. It's going right on the fridge. That's where it's going. I will. I'll print out a copy of this and I'll put it on the fridge. Just because Finn is being a bit of a jerk face. I hope my audio is coming through okay and my heat pump isn't making too much noise. I put a filter on to try to get rid of the noise from it, but my worry is that if I'm focusing and not talking, that all you're hearing is the noise. But if I don't have it turned on, I'm a freeze. Yeah. Because I'm down in our basement studio here, and we're sort of right at that coldest time of the year. Okay. Take a moment here and just check. Check that everything is tickety-boo. Yeah, if you are a creative-minded person, I'd be interested to know in what some of your ups and downs are. If you care to share anything. Okay, so we're still streaming. That's good. Good, good, good. We're still... And to make sure that there is still audio, which there appears to be. So good. All right. I get very paranoid that it's going to cut off because of our early attempts. I'm not even sure what we did to fix it, but we did. I was saying in one of my other streams there how much I really enjoy the layouts and background designs of Don Bluth. One of my favorite video games when we first got a computer back in, I'm going to say 89, 80, yeah, 89 probably, no. Yeah, 89-ish. We got a computer and it ran on DOS 5.0, which was like a very simplified version of Windows. Extremely simplified. But a game that I got with it was Space Ace. Space Ace 2, I think it was. Borf's Revenge. And it ran on this DOS computer, which at the time I thought was like I thought the computer was like the best of the best, right? I didn't know anything about computers. It just had this DOS game, and it came on like 24 floppy disks, the big ones, the 5.5-inch ones, and it was so cool. But even back then, like, I would load the game up and play it, and not even to enjoy playing it, which I did enjoy playing it, but I almost enjoyed watching it more. And I was so happy years later, many years later. I was going to Sheridan. This would have been probably 99. Yeah. And I had taken a bunch of student loan and bought a PC and built my own pencil test system at home. Had a ATI graphics card, all in wonder. And it was one of their lower end cards, but what it allowed for was frame by frame capture, which was what you needed for a pencil test system to capture all of your drawings on, on individual frames. You'd hang a camera upside down and you'd lay down the animation paper one at a time. And eventually you would shoot a full line test of whatever your scene was. And it would take forever. And wasn't the kind of software that if you missed a drawing, you could just insert it in the spot that you missed it. You would have to reshoot the entire scene. And it was quite maddening. But anyway, when I got that computer, videos were starting to become a thing on the internet. People were pirating movies and that type of thing. And it wasn't like there was this YouTube platform. It was more of like a peer-to-peer of videos. And somebody had the entire Space Ace 2 movie, and they had the Dragon's Lair. Like the whole thing just played as a movie from start to finish. And I was so happy because as a kid, I never got to see past a certain point because I couldn't beat it in the game. I think the game was like, it must have been designed to be unbeatable, to be a quarter hog, so that people at the arcade would just keep putting quarters in the machine to try again. Because I could not get past. And I when I say I played that for hours just to get to the next scene, I always die there's a part where Borf scoops you up off of the ground and eats you. And I always seem to die there. But eventually I got to just watch it as a movie. And man, all the backgrounds, it's so beautifully created. Dragon's Lair as well. I mean, I love that game too. But I love looking at it as a movie so that I can just sort of appreciate the background design and the lighting and the color palettes. I mean, one thing about Don Bluth is he was not shy about bold color palettes and the boldness of when he would switch them. So you might have a scene that it is all green and nature color palette kind of thing, but then all of a sudden there would be a cut, and it's in Land Before Time. You see it constantly. Whenever there's something bad about to happen, all the colors change to like reds and orange and purples, like in a way to imply danger and that type of thing. So when I got to finally see that, I was just, man. So what I ended up doing is taking the rest of my student loan money, instead of putting it on Power Bill or because they give you so much for living as well. It's never enough, but what it's meant for. I went and bought a printer, and I printed out a bunch of the artwork or the scenes. So I'd pause it and then print it out. I did that for a bunch of other movies too, like Prince of Egypt. I remember the DVD had a bunch of the behind the scenes stuff on it, like concept artwork and whatnot, and I would pause the printer or pause the movie and hook it up to my computer. Use the ATI card to capture the image, and yeah, print it off, and it was pretty cool. But that was before we had like Google and that to, like, we couldn't just Google an image. Like I don't even buy art of books anymore, because pretty much every image from any animator or animated movie that they worked on or anything, I can just Google image and see it, and then I'm happy and I move on. Now, I do agree there is something beautiful about physically having the book, and I have quite a few. I've got a huge collection, but at some point, I stopped. There we go. That'll work. Okay. So we got our background. We got Cyclops, we got Rogue, and we got Jean. And they are all ready for flats. There we go. Okay. Whoa. I honestly didn't think I'd get to this point with this image, because I just don't typically draw these types of things. I may mess around with her eye there when I'm putting flats, and I'm not going to do it right now, but I feel like, you know what, maybe I'll do this and go edit. Nope, that's wrong. It helps if I select the right layer. There we go. Edit. Flip horizontal. Yikes. There we go. That's better. Oh, this brings up a good point. I mentioned earlier in my streams, 1 or 2 streams ago, about I've got a really, really bad stigmatism. And I tend to draw according to my stigmatism, as you can see. Some people, they're able to correct it as they draw. But my problem, my corrections are even drawn according to my stigmatism. So I have to keep on, 9 times out of 10, I have to do a whole series of flip-flops on my images to make sure that they are balanced. Transform, flip horizontal. There we go. It's a bit more balanced. All right, cool. So, Jean. Oops. Oh yeah, and this is turn all these off. And you can see this was my initial thumbnail for the drawing. And I changed the composition for it because I wanted Jean to be above Rogue. She's more like, I think more of a leader kind of thing. And I did another one too. Another thumbnail. So now, because I struggled so much with Rogue, I wasn't able to get the exact angle I wanted for her head. But I think what I ended up with. Okay. What though? There we go. Cool. All right, well, that's where I wanted to get to for today. So, bit of a quiet stream, which is okay. People are busy. It's a weekend. People are out looking to have a good time. So Monday we're gonna put down our color for this, and we'll start with flats, and we'll build it up at whatever appropriate amount of shadows and highlights and that type of thing. And then we should be able to deliver it. By the end of the stream, it should be good to go. I hope. But for now, I think I'm reasonably happy with that. There's going to be smoke around here coming and I'll put some blur on the foreground images just to add a bit of depth of field. Yeah. I think it should be okay. Except I wonder, this part here might be a bit much. There we go. Okay. Save file, save your work, save versions of your work. That's what I'm going to do right now. Save as and save X-Men. I will call this pencils, I guess. Pencils. Yeah. That'll work just fine. Yep.
Wow, that's great. Nice, confident lines. What is it?
Yeah, you already said that. Come back when you got something original to say. Okay. I'm okay with this. I don't know if it's art, but I like it. Cool. Thank you, everybody, for watching this, whether it's during the stream or as a replay. Really appreciate it. We're going to be streaming 3 times a week for the very long-term future. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays will be projects like this. It might be a commission. It might be just some sketchbook stuff or drawing tips and tutorials. Wednesdays and Fridays, I'll be working on a animated series pitch package that I'm pulling together. I'm very excited about that because it's a very niche project and it's designed especially for southern New Brunswick, the province I live in. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And I figure, I figure by the end of it anyway, I'll end up with some cool artwork that I can throw in the old portfolio pile, and have some people like you who have watched the process of putting together a pitch package to shop around to either sponsors or maybe even potentially networks, that type of thing. So yeah, we'll be starting that on Wednesday, which is very exciting. All our streaming times start at 6 p.m. except for any surprise streams. And you'll always know we're about to stream because we'll put up the pre-stream thing. So yeah, thank you very much, and share the stream. Keep coming back, and we'll see ya. We'll see you when we see you. Monday, 6.